Hello my friends and welcome back. In this video I will speak about a few leaders and I will have three articles. The first one is going to be how some leaders mend fences, they become friends again, which is Zelensky, the German president, and the chancellor. That's one. The other one is how a leader dictates to another leader, which is Prime Minister of Great Britain, Boris Johnson, dictating to Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky, and stops the talks between Zelensky and Putin. And the third one is a forgettable president, U.S. President George W. Bush, just waking up from, I don't know exactly, sleep or drunkenness. And he compares Zelensky with Winston Churchill. There's a lot of fallacies here, a lot of fake friendships, and a lot of revealing behavior in the case of Johnson and Zelensky, for instance. So let's start with the first article, which comes from Reuters and from May 5th, 2022. And we have Zelensky telephones with German president after row of cancelled visit. So Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky spoke on the phone with German president on Thursday. The presidential office in Berlin said one day after Chancellor Olaf Scholz called on Kiev to mend the diplomatic rift between the two countries. What happened was that, as you remember, uh, the German head of state has planned to visit, which is the president of Germany, and he spoke with, his name is Frank Walter Steinmeier. He planned to visit Ukraine's capital in mid-April, but Kiev refused to welcome him because he didn't help them enough, I guess, and because at one point he uh, discussed certain things with Russia and was diplomatic with Russia. And Kiev's refusal caused a scandal in Germany and prompted Scholz, the chancellor, to say he would not visit the war-torn country before the German president had done so. So Zelensky called the president of Germany, uh, and they mend fences. The thing is, the chutzpah of this president Zelensky, who is not his own man, he's on the payroll of his masters. They dare to talk like this with Germany, and Germany, that I'm assuming, did not know where the Ukraine was and who the Zelensky was prior to all this um, Ukraine-Russia crisis. Nevertheless, the Germans are giving them weapons, aid, money, political support. They even shoot themselves in the foot by placing sanctions on Russia. They rack their economy, inflation, and their citizens' lifestyles for an unknown country to them prior to this. And these guys in Kiev, they give a cold shoulder to the Germans. That's a lot of chutzpah, but they can afford, because United States would tell the German, "Hey, come on, do what I told you." And the same thing with Zelensky. Come on, children. So that's one. The other one is an article from Ukrainska Pravda from the 5th of May, 2022, where we read here that possibility of talks between Zelensky and Putin came to a halt after Johnson visit in Ukraine. So if you remember, Zelensky had some talks that Zelensky and Putin will meet or talk and whatever. And after this, Boris Johnson came, just told the little boy, Zelensky, what the hell are you doing, man? You're supposed to follow the script, and the script is going to be a war, a continuous war. We have bigger plans than your little TV speeches and your victimhood uh, theater on the TV every day. You do your part over there, playing the victim and the perfect ideal guy with no sins, and we're going to tell you what to do, and we take care of stuff from behind. Russia has to be in a perpetual war, destroyed, and everything else. You just do your little role over there, script, follow it. That's very sad. And the third one here is from republicworld.com from the May 6, 2022. And this is the title: George W. Bush calls Zelensky, and I'm quoting, the Winston Churchill of our time. Now, I don't know where George W. Bush heard about Winston Churchill. I don't know who told him about Winston Churchill. This guy, Bush, he's the one of the forgettable U.S. presidents. Um, he was an illiterate. He graduated from both Yale and Harvard. So for me, since I read this information then, with the Iraq War and all that, and I heard him speak, I said this guy has a below 86 IQ, and he graduated from Yale and Harvard. So for me, immediately Yale and Harvard just dropped very low. And you can say whatever you want. He is an alumni of those two Ivy League schools, so I don't want to hear anything. If you graduated, that's good for you. But remember, Bush also graduated, so you're the same, right? Basically. Um, now that's the thing. The thing is here is just George W. Bush. He calls Zelensky the Winston Churchill. I don't know. I don't think Bush knows what Winston Churchill actually did, like the whole story. Yeah, he opposed the Germans and we will never surrender, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But do you know this story, this reality about Winston Churchill? Do you know what happened with Dresden at the end of the war? If not, I tell you just a little bit and you can study. Uh, Dresden was bombed and destroyed by British and American forces in the end of the Second World War, and about 100,000 people burned and died, civilians. Well, that's the definition of a war crime. So if you go by that, and it was an order by this gentleman here mentioned, so that would make him a candidate for that definition. That's one thing. Another thing that probably George W. Bush, not probably, I'm 100% certain on this one, and in a previous one, did not know is the connection between Winston Churchill and anthrax. Maybe my fellow British friends do not know about that connection as well, so I encourage them to read about it and have a complete, more complete view on Winston Churchill. I like to this kind of semi pseudo saints, like for instance Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Dr. Mahatma Gandhi, and then Nelson Mandela are held on pedestals like being saints or close to. And all three of them have great flaws like all of us. But those flaws are not told because they try to keep them as they are. And I suggest you read those the other sides of each of these three individuals involved in not so nice acts. All three of them. I uploaded a video a long time ago, well, 2 months ago maybe, regarding these three semi-saints that we're supposed to revere, and with the other side. Why am I focused on that? Because I don't like lies. I don't like half-truths. So I like to expose the other side that people don't like to mention it. So, and then George W. Bush, he is an ironic statement here, or comparison. George W. Bush calls Zelensky Winston Churchill, like he would call actually Saddam Hussein, Winston Churchill, and because George W. Bush invaded a country like Russia invaded a country. So George W. Bush has a certain kind of sins that actually, other people had in our history invading other countries, and one in recent days, weeks, months. So he did the same thing, and then the other guy who was defending his country is like the Zelensky, but he lost. So Zelensky is what? Saddam, and George Bush is Putin. Do you find the irony? But George W. Bush has a below 86 IQ, so he doesn't realize this irony. And most people as well, they will not make this connection. How ironic is that George W. Bush, who invaded a country, sovereign country, on certain pretexts that we know all about now, and we knew then, some of us, right? He calls the defender of something similar, like Winston Churchill, who did this in the Second World War. It's unbelievable how half-truth, no truth are just vomited in our faces, and because they think we are, children in adult bodies. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See ya.